Welcome again to another Curator's Chat here at Behringer-Crawford Museum. My name is Jason French, Curator of Collections. Today I'm coming to you from inside one of our play cabins here at Nature Play, which is the playground outside of our museum. I thought I would talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite subjects in the whole world, which is cabins and cabin making. This is actually not technically a log cabin. Most of the time when we think about log cabins, at least technically, they're round logs. These logs have been hewn flat. And what happens is all these little marks on these logs, that's scoring marks. And you hit the log with an axe perpendicular to the grain, and then you use a broad axe, a much wider axe, to cut to each of those marks, and it pops the wood off. It's a release cut. And it allows you to create a flat log, because eventually in a log home like this, you're going to put siding on it. So, right now it's the day after Christmas and it's really pretty warm. So it's not a bad thing that our logs have these giant gaps known as chinks in the logs. But when it gets colder, we're going to be a little more concerned about that. So if I were living in this log home in the 18th or 19th century, I might want to put chinking in it. Now, chinking could be a number of things. It could just be blocks of wood, like so, to fill the gap. Or I could use rock to fill the gap. I could also, if I have it available a little later in history, people used bricks and other things to fill that gap. And then they would use daubing. Well, now our daubing is mortar or something like a mortar mix to fill the gap. At the time, they were using a clay, mud, straw kind of maybe horse manure mixture that had lots of fiber in it to hold up, so that would seal the gap between the log. That way, when it gets real cold, you got your fire going, you really don't have wind blowing through the walls, making you cold in the winter. Because, you build a home to be sheltered from the elements. And if you got big old gaps in your logs, lots of chinks in your cabin, and you don't have chinking in it, you're not going to stay very warm. It's just a fun thing to think about in log homes and log cabins. They're so important to our American story. Really the first people in America to build log cabins like we think of them were Swedes and Dutch, kind of German stock from northern parts of Europe. And then that kind of just became an easy way for frontier settlers to build their first home. And with a handful of people, depending on the size of the logs, you could actually erect one within a week or 2 or 3 if you were really good at it. That might be very simple, not as complicated as this one. And that would give you shelter that first year. Now, of course, in doing that, you're planting it, you're clearing at least 2 acres of land, you're girdling trees, you're doing all of this in the spring, and you build your home in the late fall after the harvest. So it's just part of our American tradition. We've got presidents that were born in cabins. We think about Abraham Lincoln, or we think about William Henry Harrison and his log cabin campaign for presidents. His presidency. We think about George Washington having regulations for the federal troops to build the cabins they were living at Valley Forge. That's just part of our American history, and it's one of my favorite subjects that I can talk about for a long time. But I just wanted to kind of share that with you because, looking at our cabin, it's not going to be very warm this winter. We might want to think about chinking and daubing it. You have a wonderful time. Come and visit us before the trains are gone in our holiday experience. They'll be leaving the 5th of January, And we hope you had a wonderful holiday. You continue to have a wonderful holiday, and come and see us here at Behringer-Crawford Museum. Bye.